everyone, welcome to our show. I'm Jess Poland, and this is Joleen Constantis from Volumes of Space. So we're just going to learn a little bit more about her and her business. So Joleen, what inspired you to start the business, and what was your very first step in making it a reality?
I graduated from an interior design program and went straight into kitchen and bath renovation. Right out of university, and it was actually my co-op, and I got hired at the same place where I did my co-op, so that was wonderful. And after working so many years in the kitchen and bath industry, I actually had a little bit of almost like a work situation where they wanted to change my role a little bit. And during that time, I was actually building my own business slowly in the background and raising my two young boys. And this sort of shift in my position at work didn't really fit me.
Yeah.
So it was the kind of kick in the pants that I needed to finally spread my wings and have the courage to just jump in with both feet and do the damn thing.
Amazing. And how many years have you been in business now?
I graduated in 2002.
Holy smokes.
Mm-hmm. So that's 23 years. Oh my God.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And what challenges did you face when you're starting out, and how did you overcome them?
Biggest challenge for this type of business is meeting people in your community and getting your name out there, getting your reputation out there. And the only way to do that is slowly through referral.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
really the only way that we have seen growth in our industry and in our business, because no matter what, no matter how flashy the advertisement in the magazine, you're always going to get a more solid lead if someone has referred you. I've used Joleen in the past. She was really great. When those calls come in, we don't have to compete for that project. It's already ours.
Yeah.
And I really like working that way.
So many similarities with our business as well.
Yeah.
So, and can you share a memorable story from when you realized your business was making a positive impact on your customers or community?
We really like to do a lot of community work. And we help out with the Children's Foundation Gala every year. I am the lead decorator for that event. And we also help with the Joy Home Tour. And we've also done a few seasons with Celebrate Spring, which is helping the Michael House.
Yeah.
And through that community work, it's the small little moments where you get recognized. Hey, you understand and you grasp kind of the gravity of how positive being involved in your community can really be.
Yeah.
And that really resonates with us because it's always been really important to give back.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I'm sure you resonate with those people too, and that you understand each other, and you would want to work with a person like that as well, that you would meet there.
I think that's a great way to meet your next client.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Speaking of that, who is your ideal client?
Anybody who is looking to take their home from what they bought 10, 20 years ago and bring it up into sort of today's style and functionality. We really love taking spaces, manipulating them, moving things around to make it unique to fit the needs and the wants of our clients. But once we have sort of a kitchen done, then there's always that scope creep. So I always love the client that is fully aware that the whole main floor needs to be done. And often we will do a phase 1 and phase 2, or we'll split maybe the main floor from the second floor. But those are definitely our sort of top desirable clients.
Yeah. And
that you want to do the whole shebang.
Makes sense. And do you help with new build design choices and things like that as well?
We do, yeah. So I've helped a few clients just go to their selections meeting and pick out their floor, paint color, it can be really overwhelming when you have 2 hours to pick every fixture, every finish, your entire home, especially if you've never done it before.
Agreed.
Especially if you struggle with seeing the whole interior, big picture style.
And there's 8,000 choices out there these
Yes.
days.
Yes. I like to take 8,000, break it down to 3 for my clients, and then they can make a really good choice from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love all of that.
It's too overwhelming.
It really is. And you can go crazy on Pinterest and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so it's nice just to...
And we've also been brought in for like custom home builds too. So whether it's meeting, say like at Reed's Heritage, for a builder home that's, mass produced, or whether it's a custom build, obviously one's going to differ greatly from the other, just in the amount of selections and control that they have over those things. But we do obviously new home builds from ground up as well.
Oh, that's great. And do you have any customer stories that have sort of touched your heart or changed your perspective at all?
It's always the little things. I had a client, I have lots of clients that reach out and say, we love this space. But I had a couple that I helped, again, renovate the whole main floor. And when we moved to Elora, their friends actually lived down the street and across from us. And when we met our new neighbors, they had mentioned, I think that you did one of our friends' houses. And I remember having dinner there, and they were so proud of their home, and it was really lovely, and they spoke so highly of you. So it wasn't even hearing it from my actual client, who I knew was really happy. I heard it from their friends, who again reiterated how happy they were with their space, and that was really touching.
It's so true, and it's so important just to feel at home in your space, I think. And so I think it speaks volumes to the fact that you see their vision and are able to create that for them as well.
And it also kind of, in small parts, changes their lives a little bit for the better.
Totally.
And that's kind of like my service.
I love that.
To the world.
What does a perfect day in your business look like, and how does it leave you feeling at the end of the day?
Exhausted, usually.
Yeah.
You have a multitude of appointments, you have a multitude of sourcing to do from, various different vendors. And then you just come home with all your little to-do list checked off, and you're spent.
Yeah.
And then it's been a really good day.
Yeah. And if you could go back to your first year in business, what advice would you give yourself?
This is a tricky question, because life is such a forward motion, I guess just to have a bit more faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. We often start things and we're like, ugh, this is going to be so hard, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And you not necessarily lack the confidence, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm kind of like, plan for the worst and hope for the best kind of a person. So I would go back and tell that girl to plan for the best, because it's going to be a really fun, great ride.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what values do you strive to infuse into every aspect of your business, and why are those values so important to you?
Integrity and trust.
Yes.
There is no job that I could complete with success without trust. When I don't have trust, there's a lot of back and forth, where I know you said that this would be really great, but I'm not sure. And that could be a level of indecision on the client's part. But ultimately, it does come down to trust. And we do try and build that slowly in the beginning.
Yeah.
And if we haven't achieved it by the time we go into production, then we do run the risk of the job maybe not going as well as it could.
Yeah.
But that's my goal.
Yeah.
For pretty much every first meeting and then first presentation, I'm always gauging, is the trust here?
Yeah.
so that I can basically turn it up or turn it down and manage it that way. But that is obviously my goal, is to have that so I can do the best job possible for my clients.
Totally. And have you found that it's been hard, like it was hard through COVID to build that trust because there was such a separation? And are you finding that people are back engaged in like face-to-face meetings and that becomes easier?
It's the reverse.
Interesting.
Isn't that? Yeah. You were asking the question, and in my mind, I was like, nope, it's the reverse.
Okay.
So during COVID, I found, well, we had to, out of necessity. We couldn't go into plumbing showrooms. We couldn't look at things. We couldn't touch things.
Yeah.
So a lot of our material selections, a lot of our fixture selections were all done online. I would get a picture. I'd get a website link. They could go on. They could take a look at the sizing.
Yeah.
But they could never actually see it. So there was actually a great deal more trust.
Right.
In a sense.
Yeah.
And then when we all kind of came out, I don't know if we just weren't used to each other anymore. But,
Yeah. Did we reintroduce socialization?
Yes. But it was difficult to kind of, then go back into this place where everybody's just a little bit like, I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
So yeah, I found it was the opposite.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's a weird little dynamic.
Right?
Yeah.
And what's a little known or surprising thing about your business or your life that most people wouldn't expect?
I ride a motorcycle.
Look at you, badass.
My midlife crisis.
That's amazing.
Something I'd always wanted to do when I was a kid. And my stepdad once picked me up. I know this is probably like, parenting #fail. But he picked me up on a motorcycle because when he was dating my mom, he said that he had to date me too.
Oh,
I love this dad. He's so cute. He picked me up on a motorcycle for one of our dates. And he had like a little helmet for me and everything. And I remember just hanging on, and it was the best day of my life. I never forgot it.
yeah.
And it was always something I pictured myself doing. And I picked it up, I think, about 4 years ago.
And what's been your favorite ride that you've gone on?
We do a lot of riding to like Brantford, my sister's house. And some of those roads, they can be a little bit windy, but it's really nice. I like the longer rides.
Yeah. Just along the river and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Fresh air.
So good. Is there anything else that you want to tell the viewers about yourself or your business before we wrap it up?
Well, I would encourage people that to get a hold of an interior design consultant professional right from the beginning. A lot of times we're brought in, after the fact, and there's always a little bit of, advice we can give when you're dealing with an architect, when you're dealing with an engineer. Those particular trades don't necessarily have spatial connection in a sense where they can design the space, they can build the space, they can assign labels for different sections of the house. But in terms of really having like a connection, how furniture is going to be placed, what sort of space you need between those pieces of furniture. There can be a lot of disconnect when you get, like an architect to design a house for you, and then you try and move in with a regular size sofa and the space is too small.
Yes, I see that so often going through houses.
Yeah. Or there's like different ways to, a lot of times we have these houses that have all of these angles. There's all these angles everywhere. And then you have like a fireplace on an angle. If we can sort of get a lead, or a jump in on the inception of some of these ideas,
Yes.
we can probably take a lot of those pangs away when people then go to live in the space, because we have we have a deeper connection to that livable space, rather than just the space that they're putting together on a computer.
Well, and I find that so many of our clients aren't able to visualize what a space will look like. And so, you can see something 2D down on paper,
Mhm.
but they don't actually grasp what
Yes.
that space is visually going to feel like. And so it's fabulous having someone like yourself in there.
Absolutely. And the other part that sets kind of Kelly and I apart, Kelly Ross, my partner, she and I both have our BCIN numbers. So what that means for our clients is that we can actually go in, measure the whole house, create a building permit package, apply for the permit for our clients, and then take that information and create a construction package to then, whether we tender the project out for our clients or we just hand it off to the clients and they can have their contractors quote one package that's all designed for them. So then you're really comparing apples to apples. So it helps with pricing comparisons.
Yeah.
And it also gives a very clear picture of what that finished product is going to be. But a lot of designers are mislabeled in a sense where you'll have decorators, you'll have stylists that are so important to the industry. But we have to be really careful when we're identifying an interior designer that's going to help you with the structure of your home. So that's kind of what sets an interior designer apart from a decorator is that they have the structure knowledge and they have a degree or a diploma from a program. And that education can be invaluable and probably worth thousands and thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
If you have a situation where something goes wrong and something's mismeasured, then you are less likely to have that happen with somebody who is a professional.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So definitely from start to finish, you can be
Yes.
involved in the whole process.
Yeah. And it's a really huge misconception of what our profession really entails. And a lot of people, this has kind of been a pinpoint for me in various conversations I've had with some networking groups and friends. What do you think I do?
Right.
And a lot of people think it is colors, fabrics, furniture, that type of thing. They know I've done kitchens because we're doing kitchens and bathrooms for 23 years. But we also have to be able to calculate the water pressure when we're designing a shower system to make sure that if there are this many shower heads, then we need the right valves and the right supply lines to make everything work together. And
Right.
nobody considers that.
Not at all.
We have to make sure that we know the different sheens of paint. We have to make sure that how much electricity we're adding to a panel, if that's viable. A lot of times when we go for our initial consultation, I ask to take a look at the electrical panel, and a lot of clients will be like, what? Well, if we're going to add a big fancy kitchen, or we're going to add a big fancy steam shower,
Right.
and you have a 100-amp panel that's totally full, you're going to need a panel upgrade.
Right.
And not a lot of people understand those mechanisms and those systems within the home. And if you have a decorator, they're going to miss that component. And that can end up costing you a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of things that you have to sort of wrap up together in a pretty little package.
That's
So we're not just the bells and whistles.
no, not at all.
We're the full band.
I like it.
The full marching band.
Oh, it's so great. And it's so good to know that those services are available to people, right? Because I think that that's the biggest thing is that you don't know what you don't know.
We're here to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a huge learning curve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We like to walk our clients through everything and hold their hands as much as we need to. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so for more information, make sure to check Joleen's website. So we'll provide that and her contact information in case you or when you want to get in touch with her. Okay. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jess. It was great to talk to you.
Thanks.